Hello everyone and welcome back. So today we are doing a race on Volcano Circuit. So we've got 5 laps and it's going to be tough. There's quite a lot of gradient changes, lots of short, sharp, punchy hills. So this is probably going to be quite a difficult one. So last time out I won my first ever Class C race, so I currently have a winning streak of 1 race, which is fantastic. So the dream is to keep that going for as long as possible, but don't get your hopes up because this is going to be much harder. It's 23 kilometers, about 120 meters of elevation gain. So yeah, let's get to it. So yeah, new intro right there. Hope you like it. Anyways, tactics for this one are attack on the uphills and then rest in the draft for the rest of the race. If they're gonna drop me, it will probably be during the downhills. During the uphills where watts per kilogram matters more. So yeah, I'm gonna attack the hills and then just try to save energy for the rest of the lap. Anyway, I'll be happy if I can stick with them till the end, stay with the pack until a sprint finish. That would be good, but I wouldn't be surprised if I get dropped earlier, to be honest, because it's quite a difficult course. So yeah. I did have some plans for this weekend to go on my first 100-mile ride, but the weather has been shocking. It's just been foggy and rainy all weekend, so I'll have to wait until next weekend to do that. So for now, we are back on Zwift. All right, let's go.
Typical fast Zwift start, 400 watts straight out the gate and settling into about 300, 200. Just making sure I don't lose the group to begin with. That's the most important thing. The heart rate is quite low at the moment at 150, so I'm gonna try to rest on these flatter areas, and then when the hills come I need to put down some major power just to make sure I don't get dropped by the group. So at the moment there's a nice group of 7 of us. A few people have been dropped. Actually, I think there's about 10 of us. Anyway, later on there's 7. So yeah, this is coming into the end of the lead-in. So the first lap starts here. So like I said earlier, the aim is to keep as fresh as possible for the final laps. So really, I'm just being as lazy as possible. Occasionally they get a slight gap, but I'm just gonna make sure I put down some power to make sure I don't get dropped. If I do get dropped, it's game over. So this is the hill which really bothers me because it's it's not long, but I need to put in some major power to keep up with them. Look at the graph at the bottom. Whenever there's a hill, I have to go into the red zone just to keep up. So yeah, red zone going up the hill and then drafting everywhere else. So when I'm in the draft, I'm able to sit at less than 200 watts, which is quite comfortable for me, so it's a good chance to recover. My heart rate is around 160, and this is the final corner before the sprint to the end. It's a finish on a hill, which doesn't suit me at all. So coming into the second lap here, I've got a breakaway burrito, which is not very useful, to be honest. So yeah, I'm just gonna use that up at some point. Sitting in the draft still, just taking it easy. Heart rate 164, not bad. Approaching the big hill again, so I need to put down some big power here just to stick with them. It's going quite well. They're not really putting me under too much pressure on the hills. I just need to make sure to be careful. So the race remains relatively relaxed for the next few laps. So let's fast forward a bit. So getting up to this hill again, so this time I decide things are getting a bit boring, so I decide to put down some major power just to see who's paying attention and see if we can drop some people. So I put down some power on the hill and I get a bit of a gap, 1 second, 2 second gap, but they are all pretty on it, so those guys all catch up pretty quickly. Heart rate is around 175, which is quite high, so now I'm just going to relax for the next 2 laps, try to get it down as low as possible in these flat sections. At this point, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to stick with them till the end of the race, so I'm beginning to plan what I'm going to do for the final sprint. I don't really want to leave it till a sprint finish on this hill because they're probably lighter than me, so they'll be able to sprint better on a hill. So I'm thinking that maybe it's best to go early and then see what's going to happen. So I've got a feather, which is very useful, so I'm going to save that up till the last lap. So I'm not going to use it on this lap, I'll save it to the next one. And yeah, at this point my camera overheats and turns off, which is very annoying. So yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully it'll be fixed before the next race. So it's getting to the business end now. We've been racing for almost 27 minutes. We've got 6 kilometers to go. I'm doing a good job managing the power, keeping the heart rate relatively steady, just making sure I do not get dropped. Anyway, my plan for the final lap hinges on this hill coming up here. So you've got a nice downhill followed by quite a steep bit. So I'm going to sprint on the downhill and then hope I have enough momentum to carry me up the hill quickly. And then there's about 0.7 kilometers to the end. So I'm hoping no one will be ready for an early sprint, and hopefully I'll be able to drop most of them. So just started the last lap. My heart rate is super low. It's around 150, which is very, very relaxed. Anyway, we're coming up to this final big hill. So everyone's gonna go for it here. So let's see. Yeah, they put down loads and loads of power. They try to get away, so I'm having to put down a lot of power. I had to put down about 400 or 500 watts just to stick with them, and the group is so spread out here. But I managed to stick with them, and now we are getting into the business end. 1.1 kilometers to go, so this is the downhill just coming up here. So I'm gonna sprint on the downhill and then hope I can keep it together for the uphill. So let's see if it works.
No! Fucking hell. Okay guys, that was, I think, the hardest I've ever pushed. My heart rate got so high and the power was up there. Fucking hell. He pipped me at the end. I didn't use my feather on the final hill, which I should have done, I just forgot. But I think I got the strategy right. Most people were napping, weren't ready for the long range attack, but fuck me, my legs are actually in pain. Don't know what happened with the camera there at the end. I'm not sure when it turned off, but it's very annoying. But there you go. I need to maybe get a fan for the camera to stop it overheating. But anyway, that was horrible. But tactics were good, power was good. I'm punching above my watts per kilogram, giving the C's a tough time. The race tactics were good, sitting in the draft, making sure I stay in touch on the hills. Overall, good race. Thank you everyone for watching. If you like the pain and the suffering, please subscribe and like the video, helps me out a lot.
So for anyone who's interested, I thought I'd do a breakdown of the power. So at the bottom, we've got my previous Zwift power results. You can see my 1 minute power, 30-second power, and 15-second power are all in red, which means it's the highest I've ever done. So I thought it was a difficult race, and it sort of proved it because I managed to beat my personal records. And my normalized power is also very, very high compared to the other races. 275 watts. I've only got one race which was higher than that, but that was a 4-kilometer race, so it's not really comparable to a 23-kilometer race. So yeah, the power is definitely getting better. Unfortunately, the 20-minute power is not getting that much better. It's still around 2.4 watts per kilogram. And Zwift Power still will refuse to upgrade me to a Class C, even though I'm sticking around the front of Class C. It still thinks I'm a Class D, but you know what? I'm not too bothered about that. So my 1 minute power is 503 watts, which according to this little graph here is my best attribute. So I think in future I'm definitely going to go early just to just because it seems to be my strong suit. So rather than waiting for a bunch sprint, just go early, see if I can catch everyone napping. It worked well in this race, so hopefully it will work well in the future.
Anyway, hopefully next weekend the weather will get better so I can go for my 100-mile ride. That's the hope anyway, but we'll see. It's been a bit wishy-washy recently. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Peace out.